Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the Akim who are tuning to these videos. All right, so I just want to go over a quick lesson, about one of the prophecies that we're watching, and that prophecy is, WW3, as the precept I have here, speaks about, that we're going to see wars and rumors of wars, and so like you can see too with all these other, nations gathered about, like China, Russia, North Korea. All these nations are pretty much starting to become more and more bold. As Babylon, America, this prophesied in the scriptures, it's going to start getting very pompous. And like it says in Obadiah, the people who he has in confederacy with him are going to turn against him. Roughly paraphrasing what that says. But pretty much everybody is going to go against this nation. For all the wickedness that it's pushed out forth in this world, and forced everybody to drink of that wine and fornication. So I'm going to read this precept real quick. This is Matthew 24, verse 6. It says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." So even though we're seeing these wars and rumors of wars, we know that it's not the end yet, because these things have to take place, before Yahweh Shai returns. Because these things are supposed to happen so that when they're happening, that's when Yahweh Shai returns. Because he's going to come, when all these people are pretty much gathered about, pretty much in conflict with each other. And this war, the third woe that's going to come quickly, it's not really going to be fought like wars that of before. You're probably going to see a few skirmishes here and there, but really the battle is made ready, and it's going to utilize, this devil's technology of the thermonuclear missiles, which those are the Lord's missiles, and he's going to have those missiles being shot out over here in Babylon and various other places around the world. So I want to read this in Joel 3, and I'm going to start at verse 9. It says, "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears, let the weak say, I am strong." So all these heathen nations are pretty much on a level, so they can go up against America, because they all have, the means of weaponry, and the technology advances that what this nation, America, which is known as Babylon in the scriptures, they once had before, and they were utilizing that, to bully and to subjugate all the heathen nations. They're looking, as one of their fellows now, and pretty much everyone is fed up with what this devil is doing, because not only is he putting, excruciating hell on the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, but this devil can't do right. He can't really, take care of the earth, properly. So all these heathens round about, they're going to want to get a piece of them, but see, all these things, they must come to pass, before the end, because we're going to see these nations pretty much, go up against America. All the while, all these prophecies are going to start to happen. We're going to start seeing, the MOTB, be implemented in full effect. We're going to actually see, the plagues and pestilences take their effect, because right now, it's 2021, in years, it's a few more days, it's about to be, 2022. We'll see what the apostles are going to name it this time, but what I'm seeing right now is, because you see on the news, you see a lot of like World War III fears grows at tensions on Ukraine border, and Russia, talking about, wanted to reclaim that Ukrainian land. Because if you search World War III on Google, they don't really tell you much, but you can see pretty much that all the people are made ready. It's really spoken about to these other heathen nations, like it says here in verse 9. They're proclaiming this amongst the Gentiles. Because here in America, Babylon, the mighty men of this place have forborne to fight. They're not going to fight. And it, like I said, it ain't gonna be a battle like it was before. It's really just gonna jump the gun and go straight to the ICBM missiles. Because these heathen nations, like I said, they're pretty much at the level of at weapon advancements and all these things, so that they would be able to go up against Babylon. Like so-called in a fair game. And Esau, he's so proud that he'd rather destroy himself along with everybody than to lose a battle. So all these heathens, they're preparing for war. All their mighty men, they're awake, they're getting ready. And they're getting ready for when that third woe happens. And they're beating their plowshares into swords and their pruning hooks into spears. Because now once all these heathen nations were pretty much servitude to Babylon, but now they're putting more of their resources and efforts into weapons and arms, war. So they can be able to combat against this place known as Babylon. All right, so I'm gonna read verse 11. It says, "Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Yahushaphat." And that word is the Lord's judgment, Yahushaphat. Because that's where all the nations are going to be gathered. They're going to be gathered in the Middle East, where that place is located at. And that's where pretty much the main battle is going to be at. Because if you see all the politics and the pipelines and everything that's been spoken about over the years, in these coming months, you can see that that's pretty much where the main battle, is going to be held at. But then after that, it's going to be thermonuclear war. All right, so I'm just going to finish this real quick. It says, "For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about." And that's one of the reasons why the Heavenly Father is doing it this way, because he wants to gather the nations. Like I believe that it says in the book of Zephaniah, because that's his determination is to gather the nations, because he has a lot of judgment to dish out, and especially to all these heathen nations, because none of these people are going to come out a victor in this battle. It's going to be a very bloody battle, but it's also going to be, mostly with fire. So this is Isaiah 9 verse 5. It says, "For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire." Verse 6 says, "For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace." And it says, "Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth, even forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this." So this is what we're prophesying. We're heralding, the champion of this battle that hasn't started yet. And so we're supposed to, wait patiently on the Lord. This isn't our battle, in a physical sense, because we're occupied in the spiritual battle. And that's more of a of a battle within yourself. And it's more spiritual, and it's not physical. So all these people, they're going to be gathered about, because the Lord is going to judge all these people, and we are to prophesy all these things. Just as Yahushua said that there's going to be wars and rumors of wars, we have to speak in his ministry of those things. Because what we're saying is we're telling this is supposed to get you ready, for the spiritual warfare. It is supposed to put fear into you, because this battle is going to be so like broad, and like I said, there's going to be a battle with burning fuel and fire. You should, in your right mind, want to find out, how are you going to get out of this? How are you going to be able to save yourself in that day? Well, you pretty much have to, work in this ministry, so that you got the covering cast of the Lord on you, which is you got to pretty much come into this ministry, and actually do this work, pick up the plow, and work in this ministry. Yeah, because, when we come into this ministry, we see, and then we read about what's to come, and it's that third woe, and the way that we're going to be delivered, if we're of that number of the hopeful elect to be delivered. So if you read this in 2nd Ezra 13, and I'm going to start at verse 5, it says, "After this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea." So this is talking about, at the last parts of World War III, Yahushua is going to make his appearance. He's going to come out of the sea. Speaking about, because of the heavens are a sea. So he's going to come out of the heavens, what you would call space, and he's going to be riding on the chariot, and he's going to have, all the angels backing him up. And continuing on, it says, "But I beheld, and lo, he had graven himself a great mountain and flew up upon it." And that's the chariot that's talking about. It was so big that it was as big as a mountain. And continuing on, it says, "But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not." And a good picture that you could picture this when you read this, so you can have vision, is the movie Independence Day. That UFO came, to the White House, and it blocked the sun, like from the whole state. But we're going to see that, in a more grander scheme. All right, so verse 8 says, "And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, yet durst fight." So all these people, they're going to come up against Yahushua and the chariots. It continuing on, it says, "And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held a sword, nor any instrument of war, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempest. And they were all mixed together, the blasts of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with the violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up, every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid." So Yahushua is going to, completely annihilate, the people who are against him, against us in this world. There's people who are going to defend, this way of life in these last days. All those people, they're going to have the MOTB. They're going to join or probably be drafted and actually believe in themselves that what they're going up against is something bad for this world. But Yahushua, he's coming to, set the standard, because once he eliminates them all, through the fire, through the thermonuclear fire and the fire from the chariots, it's going to be a perfect battle. Like, he's not going to be scathed, so he's going to set all these people, under subjection, because right now the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, and a wicked king is pretty much, causing this earth to go into disarray. The earth that mourneth and fadeth away. So when Yahushua, kicks out, the current residents, the stewards of this earth, we're going to be, put on high. And then, so if you read this in Isaiah 2, verse 4, because this is the prophecy of what's to come. This is the good news right here. Because all that I read about in Joel and Isaiah and 2nd Ezra 13, this is the end goal for it. All right, so this is Isaiah 2, verse, I'll start at verse 3. Or actually, I'll start at the top. So it's Isaiah 2, verse 1. It says, "The word that Isaiah, the son of Amos, saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem." So off the top of my head, one of the laws is we're not going to have people working on the Sabbath, and those laws are going to be pushed out there. So in this time, after everything is said and done, the elect have been crowned, and we're putting all the heathens into subjection, and definitely Esau into captivity. We're going to make sure that the laws that were written in the book of Moses are going to be practiced. Meaning, if someone picks up sticks in that day on the Sabbath, they're going to be dealt with. Because right now the law is slacked. So one of the prophecies, that the scriptures hold
is that that's going to happen. That we're going to make sure that everybody is, working accordingly to the ecosystem that is life. Like another thing for an example is we're not going to have any cooked pig or shrimp or whatever, because those animals, those creatures, they have a purpose. So if you as a heathen, if you go and start to tamper with those things, you're going to be dealt with immediately. And this is what we look forward to in the kingdom of heaven, because right now, like I said, the law is slacked, and you can see that the earth is pretty much being destroyed because of that. So anyways, verse 4, it says, and he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. So it says here, like I read in Joel 3, that they're making their plowshares into pruning hooks. They're pretty much getting ready for war. But once all that is said and done, here in Isaiah 2 verse 4, it says that the heathens are going to make all their weaponry into plowshares and into pruning hooks. Because I'm going to read continuing on. It says, nation shall not lift up sword again. Nation neither shall they learn war anymore. So this is a prophecy, because like when you see all these prophecies in the scriptures, you have to understand that one of them is going to come and then another one's going to come. So it's got to go in order. Like we're not going to see the MOTB just yet until we see more and more prophecies. Like this is prophecy in Isaiah 2. It's pretty much one of the last remaining prophecies that the scriptures foretell. But we have to go through the wars and the rumors of wars, and then the MOTB, then the plagues, and then the chariots come with Yahushai and our salvation, and then we'll subdue the heathens round about. So we got a lot to look forward to. And while we're looking for these wars and rumors of wars, because those are signs that we're almost out of this place, that our salvation is nearer than what we believed. So I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem Rachak Kodash, and Shalom Amakim.